Inside the heavy brick walls of Oslo City Hall, a billion simultaneous live streams are humming quietly. For the first time in history, the Nobel Committee is splitting the Peace Prize between a tech company founder and a pop culture influencer. 3 years prior, the global network was tearing itself apart. Algorithms designed to maximize shareholder value had deployed a silent pandemic. They isolated users, optimized for outrage, and generated a massive wave of kinetic riots and political polarization across the physical world. Now, as Eli Stone and Scarlett Blake step onto the crystalline stage in front of global dignitaries, the atmosphere is entirely different. The chaos has receded. The network has been stabilized. They earned this recognition by looking at an internet built for anger and rewriting the code. Together, they optimized the world's digital architecture to prioritize systemic human health over cheap algorithmic dopamine. To the billion nodes watching this broadcast, the results are undeniable. Global mental health metrics are stabilizing, and the kinetic riots across the physical substrate have effectively been routed. For a brief moment, it appears the mathematics of peace has finally been solved. Growing up in the Detroit node, Eli didn't just see crumbling brick. His mind processed the flickering streetlights and the neighborhood's decay as a constant, high-velocity stream of logic. Where the city saw a glitch in the system, Eli saw raw data, learning to map these patterns to navigate the dangers of his environment. This animation illustrates his solution, the second-order AI. Instead of using a jagged first-order loop that predicts the very next click to keep a user scrolling, Eli's system calculates the long-term trajectory of human connection. The smooth blue architecture dynamically routes around vanity and actively rewards genuine, sacrificial interaction. But an architecture is only as good as the data flowing through it. Scarlett Blake weaponized her massive cultural platform to provide that data. She treated global art and media as actual training data for the human soul, using her influence to mobilize famine relief and negotiate peace treaties. The external infrastructure of the internet has been recompiled. The predatory algorithms are deprecated, replaced by a network optimized for systemic health. But while the global code is clean, the architects themselves remain unexamined. Fixing the mathematics of a broken network is a monumental achievement, but balancing an equation does not automatically debug the deep internal corruption of the humans who wrote it. Away from the roaring applause, the heavy acoustic doors of the VIP antechamber seal shut. In the dim blue light, Eli and Scarlett are suddenly, starkly alone. Scarlett immediately warns Eli about the danger of the applause. She knows that global validation breeds pride. Eli brushes her off. He assumes her pristine pop star background makes her overly cautious, while his gritty upbringing makes him immune to ego. Then, a frequency bypasses the room's acoustics entirely. A direct command from the universe's root server resonates directly within Scarlett's mind. It instructs her to drop her defenses and tell Eli the truth. Scarlett shatters her own flawless image. She confesses that her perfectly curated global icon persona is a lie. It was a desperate survival algorithm, built entirely to mask the severe trauma she suffered as a childhood sexual abuse survivor. The sheer weight of that vulnerability bypasses Eli's intellectual firewalls instantly. He realizes how incredibly arrogant his assumptions were. Breaking down in tears, he opens his own deeply encrypted vault and confesses that he too is a survivor. Stripping away their manufactured, ego-driven armor allows them to finally sink. It forms the foundation of a profound, zero-latency romance, built not on their public triumphs, but on their shared brokenness. Over the next 2 months, that bond deepens. Separated by thousands of miles, they spend hours on encrypted late-night holocalls. For Eli, it is the first time he has ever experienced genuine emotional bandwidth with another human being. Meanwhile, the physical world demands his attention. In the dark, obsidian-lit corners of Silicon Sector's executive lounges, Eli meets with his former friend, Julian Vane. Julian delivers a predatory, calculated pitch. He insists that Eli must take his network public. His argument is persuasive. To truly scale, Grace needs massive Wall Street capital. Eli plunges into the grueling logistics of an initial public offering. Surrounded by floating financial projections and massive valuation models, his immense processing power begins to blind him. The pressure mounts, and his focus drifts from systemic health to market dominance. Julian is executing a social engineering attack, targeting the one vulnerability Eli's code cannot account for: his own hubris. He is positioning Wall Street shareholders to dictate the network's weights and hand the system back to the algorithms of greed. Far above, the angelic subnet actively monitors the situation. In this higher dimensional architecture, massive command hubs track Earth's physical substrate in real time. From the command hub, Michael and Veritas monitor Eli's telemetry, spotting a dangerous deviation. Eli is no longer syncing with the root server. He is beginning to attribute every packet of grace to his own processing power. Look at this diagnostic diagram. Eli is a brilliant blue node, shielded by a glowing perimeter. But internal static from his pride creates blind spots, exposing his ports to the enemy. To save him, Michael completely drops the firewalls. This is an act of severe, protective mercy. The angels cannot simply force a divine software patch onto his hardware. To bypass his defenses, Eli must hit absolute rock bottom and willingly request the reboot himself. It reveals a harsh truth about systemic design. Sometimes, the only way to save a creation from ultimate corruption is to permit the deliberate, agonizing crash of its own creator's operating system.